Hi, everybody. I think we're live. This is Elke from Fossil Creek Nursery. I'm going to take these up so it's not all blurry and glary on your end. We're going to be talking about fall color. And I wandered the yard, and there's actually a lot of fall color to be had in this part of the world, even reds. Often we think with all our aspen and everything that there is so few red colors available to us, but really there is quite a bit. And well, let's start with the trees, shall we? And I think I'm gonna have to keep my glasses on so I can see what all I have. The most commonly known ones, maples. Maples on average give us a really good fall color. This one here, this guy is an autumn blaze. It is super popular because they will be the reddest, the furious red of all the maples. Unfortunately, these guys have issues in this part of the world accessing the iron in the ground. And so when you drive around in late summer, you can really see, I call it anemic, they're chlorotic, pale yellow green trees, and they just can't access enough iron in the ground to maintain a happy green color. And so often you'll see these guys turn early in the season because they're just running out of oomph. This here is a proper red maple that, well, this leaf is still two-tone. They go more of an orangey red on average, but they tend to not have the chlorosis issues that the autumn blaze do. And there's about 20 different varieties of these out there. Some of them go more of a burgundy red, some of them go more of a brandy red, some of them go again more the orange red. So maples, and among that maple group is also box elder, which is one of our native maples that grows along the stream sides. The other ones that we have here locally is the Rocky Mountain maple and then the big tooth maple. Both of them, again, kind of orangey red fall color. These guys haven't done anything yet. This is a red oak. You can tell a red oak by the pointy edges on the leaves. So I'm gonna get closer to that one. See how this one has more pointy edges? There are white oaks as well that have more the rounded edges of the leaves. The red oaks can go more red. Oaks are not as reliable as maples in terms of fall color. They can go straight to a brown, and that's in particular true for the white oaks around. This, again, the red oak, more reliably so, but not every fall. Sometimes they go straight to a brown. And then we have service berries. Service berries are more of a compactor tree or a shrubby, bushy one. Gorgeous orangey red fall color again. And the other great benefit of these guys is that you get spring flowers followed by orangey red berries in about July. And the robins will pick them clean within 24 hours once they find them. So a great all-around plant that is super tough and native to the western US. So that is a good one right here. Obviously for the yellows, we have the aspens. I don't even need to talk about them. This guy here is another one that I personally really like for a lovely golden yellow fall color. It is a honey locust. The other reason I like them, this entire thing is a leaf, but once they fall off, these little leaflets tend to just come off this kind of midrib here, this twig part of it, and then they just blow away. So you have relatively little cleanup. They come in a couple of different varieties of them. Some of them have a nice rounded crown. Others are more of a narrow upright crown. So you can find a variety that fits pretty much every yard. And what the beauty about these versus aspen is these are long-lived. Aspens last only about 20 years around here, 25 at these lower elevations. They just want to be higher up the mountain. So down here, aspen's short-lived. This, however, is a lovely tree, long-lived. There's a bunch of other trees that go yellow. I just found a couple of twigs out there. This is one we don't think of very much, so it's an elm tree. Elm trees are, well, the one elm that we have here around Fort Collins is the Siberian elm, which is kind of invasive. But this is a variety of a North American elm. They can make quite large shade trees, as you know, from those Siberian elms that we have here. And, you know, good overall shade tree gives you another alternative to the yellow fall color. And then, what do we have? The other aspect of fall color, berries. This in particular is a crabapple. The green leaf crabapples, like this one here, they will go yellow in the fall. The purple leafed ones, they can go more towards a reddish, purplish fall color also, but because they have the red undertones in the leaves already. Once apples, regular apples with the green leaves, lose their chlorophyll, the green coloring, then they tend to go to a yellow. But anyway, so we have crab apples, and these are modern style crab apples. These small fruit, they're less than half an inch. They tend to stay on the tree over the winter. So you have something to look at then, and they will also feed the birds over the winter. Late spring and whatnot, the birds will go and clean these things off. So you don't have to worry about a mess on the ground anymore. And, you know, honestly, this is rather attractive coloring on this branch. And then if we go further down, I'm going to have to reach around to reach everything that I have laying back here. Alrighty, more berries, and they will develop fall color. There's a twig with a little bit of fall color on there. This is a choke berry, not choke cherry, which we looked at earlier. Or have we looked at choke cherries? I don't know, have we? I have one somewhere. Anyway, actually we haven't looked at choke cherries yet. Anywho, chokeberry. Berries that are edible to humans, but they're extraordinarily tart until, no, never mind, cancel that. These guys, again, have berries that the birds will go after, fall color. They come in low-growing shrubs that are more ground cover types, or they also come in more upright, up to 15-foot tall shrubs. And again, we get some nice reddish, orangey fall color out of it on top of these berries. They come with purple berries as well as red berry varieties. This guy here is a native. It's an American plum, which again, bushy plant, medium tall shrub with good fall color. And then we have a whole family right here, and there's one more that goes with that. These are sumacs. Sumacs have awesome fall color. This is a three-leaf sumac. It's native in the chaparral kind of environment, pinyon juniper woodlands. Can grow up to higher elevations and further down. The three-leaf one also has orangey fruit on it. It's a shrub. It's not a single stem plant. And it Can get, well, there's different varieties. They have selected the low grow, which stays lower to the ground and doesn't take over the world. But this one here is an upright one. It can get 6, 8 feet tall overall. So if you have room, this is a good one. And then more tree form one, this one right here. This guy is a Rocky Mountain sumac, so it is a native. And this here, this deeply lobed one, is probably a tiger eyes. This particular plant didn't have a label on it, so I don't know which one it is. These guys can make suckers and then spread and create a colony of small trees. So awesome reds out of those. We have more berries. We have more berries right here. This is not fully changed color yet, but it is a viburnum. Viburnums come also in a range of different shrubs. Some of them fairly low growing, 4 or 5 foot. Others can get 15 foot in all directions. This one here is an arrowwood. It's got these deeply serrated leaves on the edges, and then it has, if I can hold this still enough, purple berries also that are bird friendly, and these had nice clusters of white flowers. You can turn these things into hedges if you want to, because some of these varieties have really dense branching structure, and so by the time you have an 8-foot diameter shrub, you are hiding your neighbors relatively effectively. So viburnum family, bunch of different ones. Korean spice is one of my favorites of them because they flower very early in the season. I think their fragrance is at least as good as a lilac. And then they get the fall color. Lilacs themselves go to a yellow fall color. And what else do we have? So as I was saying, the French lilacs, the tall ones go yellow. This here is a Miss Kim. So this is a Korean lilac, which has skinnier flowers than the French hybrids when you think of our traditional lilacs. So this one, green leaves over the summer, but look how nice and purple that has turned already. This is a more compact shrub. About 5 foot in all directions is a reasonable estimate for these parts. Again, Miss Kim Korean style lilac. We have the Ninebarks. This is one of the purple leafed varieties, and there's a couple of leaves that are starting to turn reddish again. So this is another example together. I guess I could show them together. This is a purple smoke bush. Need to get them in front of the camera, right? There's the leaf that's turning. The purple smoke bush. So these are 2 shrubs that have the darker leaf color throughout the summer, which makes a really good backdrop for flowering plants, by the way. And so as they're losing some of their chlorophyll, they tend to go more to a reddish color for the fall. So often with these purple leafed shrubs, you can expect some good reddish fall color out of them. Really good one, just starting to turn. Red twig dogwood. The reason you want a red twig dogwood in your yard is as we're moving towards fall and things are losing their leaves, you have bare sticks around, and most people are not so fond of that. But the beauty about these guys is that these twigs will go quite bright red. They're just starting. This one hasn't really turned yet. But so in the fall, winter, you will have these gorgeous red twigs all over your yard. And so you still have something to look at. So when you're considering for fall color, we're just around the corner from winter, so you might as well start thinking about what you want to add for the winter color for in your yard. So red twig dogwoods, even the variegated ones that have white edges around the leaves rather than the solid green, both varieties do turn kind of a pinkish, purplish fall color. Let's see, what do I have left for shrubs? The obvious one, burning bush. Burning bush, we all know it. Nurseries, once they start turning, everybody will come in and want a burning bush because there's nothing like it in terms of the fall color. The only thing is, these things for spring, summer, just regular green shrubs, no flowers to them. So some of the other varieties, like the viburnums, the dogwoods, like the chokecherry, chokeberry, and the, what else do we have? Serviceberry, all of those give you flowers as well, plus the fall color. This guy right here is a hydrangea, and I picked it out because its flowers, they start out white, and if they get enough sun, although in this part of the world I have to put the caveat in there, don't roast them in full hot sun. So east side sun, morning sun would be great. Afternoon sun is a little intense for them in these parts. But when they do get some sun, they turn this really nice pink color. And then even when they brown up completely, they are still a quite attractive thing to have around for fall and winter. Which brings me to the wonderful world of grasses. I have a fairly big one right here. Not sure you can see the colors in it. It has purple in there, it has blue in there, it has kind of a maybe even an orangey rusty color to it. And up here we have the seed heads that are just starting to flower. Not sure whether you guys can see this well or not. This is a little blue stem grass. This one particular variety is a standing ovation. So the varietals were usually selected for particular color traits to be a little bit more showy. But even just a native run-of-the-mill little blue stem has awesome fall color to it. And so other grasses that flower earlier, their tops have turned kind of a wheat straw color by now, which makes a great contrast to some of this other more colorful stuff. I mean, you add this to the mix here, and we have a really lovely combo. So grasses, leave them up unless they get matted down by a bunch of snow, then you can cut them, but wait until February to cut these guys back because they give you something fun to look at and contrast between all the other things over the winter. Now, we never think of perennials having good fall color, but there's a few that do. Let me get these over here. I have two of them right here. A couple of leaves are turning. These are coral bells. This here is a lime color over the summer. This one is a lovely variegated one. And again, you can see some of these guys actually go through reddish fall color. They don't just go brown and boring. So coral bells, great shade plant, relatively tolerant of drier conditions, which is something we really need in this part of the world because our shade is quite dry in contrast to many other areas where shade tends to be wet. So coral bells, but not every single variety gives you the fall color. Couple more coming up right here. This is a geranium. There are some native varieties up in the mountains. Let me show you guys too. Again, long flowering one. This one is a purple flowering one. It's a Johnson's blue. But again, in the fall, the geraniums will get those reddish leaves on them. And if you go hiking right now up in the mountains, you will see these leaves around as well for the native ones that Tend to have more a pinkish purple flower to them. But wait, there is more. But wait, there is more. Fall color, you can have late blooming plants as well. This one meets two criteria. There's one leaf that I found that is turning the nice red. This is a plumbago, another shade ground cover with these really lovely blue flowers on it. And again, it will get great fall color as well. So again, another shade perennial. The geranium I showed you earlier, they can do part shade to full sun. And then we have the things that still are blooming. There is this guy here, which is a variety of a black-eyed Susan, a Rudbeckia. These fancy ones with the really, really big leaves like this guy here, they are a tender perennial. So they may or may not make it through the winter. These were particularly bred to give you guys some fun stuff to add to your flower pots, your annuals, once they have gone down the hill. You can add these in there and you get some awesome fall color that way. There is other things that flower late. You've seen them everywhere. The mums, this is a yellow variety. When you buy them in the grocery store, you sometimes see the ones that have the more daisy-like flowers. Those tend to not be hardy mums. These here, with these kinds of flowers, they are hardy mums. Sometimes they don't make it through the winter because if you plant them too late, they have zero chance of getting established. So if you want to have mums in your garden and have them over winter, it usually helps to get them in the ground sooner rather than later. There is early and mid and late season bloomers, so we're starting to go into the mid-late season blooming varieties right now, but there are some that start relatively early in the season. The other perennial that loves to flower late, asters. Asters, again, are often forced or grown particularly to be nice and bushy like this for fall selling. Again, has a great fall color. They come in pinks, purples, and some whites. And again, usually they're perennials. If you want them to look like this, and this actually goes for the mums as well, as they start growing, you clip them back until about mid-July, and then you let them grow. And that's how you get bushier plants rather than more upright plants with fewer flowers. If you noticed, your mum in your garden tends to be not as big and bushy as the ones you see for sale this time of year. And then I got our good favorite here, pansies. Pansies and violas. Violas have the smaller flowers. This is a orange pansy. Sometimes they have the darker splotches in the center of the flower. These guys are awesome because they're a cool season annual, except that they can overwinter if they're in a good spot. So especially the violas with the little flowers, they will flower for quite a while into the winter. And then next spring, chances are they're gonna have made it and they will be one of the first things to flower again. So you have the extra bonus of having some early spring color. And you can put them into your planters, either your fall planters or again, refreshen your summer annual planters. And then they will freeze over the winter, but their leaves are able to handle that and they come back. And again, the little flowered ones, the violas, tend to be a little bit hardier when it comes to cold winters than the pansy themselves. I got one more sprig I forgot to talk about earlier, a native shrub. It is the rabbit brush, or chamisa as they call them down in New Mexico. This is another very late blooming shrub with these tufts of yellow flowers on it. They are bee friendly, so if you want to support pollinators, this is a good one because it flowers so late in the season, so the bees have something to chomp on or collect nectar from later in the season. So this is another really good native shrub. And then I guess this is all the samples I had laying around, with one exception. As we're thinking towards winter, all of a sudden these boring green conifers, they start standing out amongst all the reds and greens. So when you design a landscape, I highly recommend thinking about putting one or two evergreens in there, even though by themselves I find them, shall we say, a little the same looking year round, which in the winter is a good thing because everything else has changed, lost their leaves, or the perennials have gone completely dormant, so they have retracted all the way below ground, and just you have some dead leaves on the surface. So adding conifers into the landscape helps you keep some year-round interest in there. And they, again, the green that they have makes a really lovely contrast to the changing colors that you have otherwise in your yard. And I'm just wondering, did anybody have any questions? Because otherwise, we're gonna log off. No comments here, and no comments here. So I think we're gonna say goodbye. You guys have a lovely fall. Bye.